November 5th, which will, for the pending elections with mainly people running for Senate and the House seats in Washington. Then we move on to 2020, which will also involve senators and House seats in 2020 that will be for President of the United States. As you know, I think we have 140 million voters right now in the United States, and they would vote Democrat, Republican, Independent, something like that. And a lot of them, including me, we've been watching this Mueller investigation, which has been going on for months and months, and we've also been watching the fact that all the people working around Trump when he went into office, since he went into office, a lot of those people have been indicted for different charges, and everything at this point is secret. But these people that were indicted, including Cohn and different ones, they've been going to Mueller's office like running track. They've been over there for hours and hours and hours. So the thing about the 140 million voters, in the same way, all these people signed agreements because they were all going to jail for a long time. So they worked out agreements with Mueller and the prosecutors. And generally in those agreements, I think they probably got half of the time they would have got before, and half of the charges were dropped. And then they signed an agreement. And in the agreement, I assume, had things that they were certifying that different people did wrong and that they did. And that was the agreement signed, and that agreement would be given to the federal judge when the case comes up for trial or guilty pleas. And some of them have already pled guilty. Some of them are coming up in November, December, January, these agreements. Now, naturally, the way I understand it, these agreements that they made, and those agreements reduce the sentences drastically, as long as they stick to what they have in there. And I know a lot of the things in there, I haven't seen them, would have them cooperating with the government in different cases. Like they might have to say, when they tell them something, they say, well, we want you to testify against that guy. Whether it's the president or somebody down the line, they say, okay, that's in the agreement. Now later, when it comes time to testify, and they say, I'm not testifying, I changed my mind. Okay, good. Federal judge pulls out the agreement, tears it up, says, we'll go back to the beginning then. Instead of you working out a deal that gets 3 or 4 years, we're going to go back to the 20 years. That would be your sentencing criteria for these 20 charges, because we cut all these other charges down and we narrowed you down to 3 years. So that agreement that they signed, they have to stick with it. And if they say they're going to testify against certain people from knowledge that they have, whether it's the president or people down the line, they have to do that. If they don't do it, then the judge takes the agreement, tears it up, and says, we'll go back now to the beginning. We cut you down to 3 years, or that one guy they cut down to 8 days. We'll go back, and you, like Cohen, had 26 years facing him. We'll go back to the original charges where you can get the 26 years. So that's the way I think it's set up. And naturally, if trouble comes up with these agreements with this federal court, I guess the way you'd have to do would be to appeal to the Court of Appeals in federal court. And if that doesn't work, I guess you have to appeal to the Supreme Court. Now, the thing about it is there are 140 million voters, including me, and I would like to see those agreements that they signed, especially if it involves things that the president did wrong. I don't care about a guy setting up bank accounts like Manford way, way thousands of miles away in some bank, and he's the only one involved in it. I don't care. But a lot of these people, supposedly, since they were working right there with the president in the immediate circle, I assume some of the things in those agreements involve the president. Those items I would like to see and read, and at some time. Now they say because we got all these guilty pleas, and that I would even go to the point, if you can't do it, we paid Mueller's group millions and millions of dollars, and if you can't do it, then let's move the election back. Where it says 2020, let's move it to 2021 or 2022. Let the 140 million voters in the United States know something about what's going on in these agreements, because I know they want to know if the president did something wrong. If he didn't do anything wrong, good. Forget about it. And if he did something wrong, he can usually give one of those things where he can cut himself with no penalty. But I'd like to see the agreements, and I think somebody should go into federal court and argue that the 140 million voters want to see these agreements, especially after the agreements have been performed and these people have done what they said they would do in the agreements. And if the federal judge says no, then I think somebody should put up the money and appeal to the appeals court, federal appeals court. If they won't do it, then even though Trump has 2 people on there, the Supreme Court of the United States. And everybody's going to say, we can't get this done quickly, we can't get it done, we can't get it done. All right, let's move the election from 2020, let's move to 2021 or 2022. Because I think these agreements are very important. And whatever's in there about Donald Trump, if he did anything wrong, if he didn't do nothing wrong, good. If he did something wrong, I think these 140 million voters, including me, would like to know about it. Thank you.